you for tuning in. I'm your host, Jaclyn Friedlander, and today we are in Juneau, Alaska at the Macaulay Fish Hatchery, and I am joined right now by Riley Oliver.
Hi.
Thank you so much for having us out here.
Oh, of course. Welcome. We're glad you were able to make it.
All right, so can you tell me a little bit about how this hatchery got started?
We started 50 years ago on Douglas Island, and we started by raising pink and chum salmon.
Okay.
50 years later, here we are. We are no longer on Douglas Island, and we no longer raise pink salmon. But when you're in the community that long, that's what everybody knows you as.
Right.
The name has to stay.
What salmon do you raise, and how does the hatchery process work?
We currently raise chums, kings, and cohos here. We raise these babies from egg until juveniles.
Okay.
And then we release them out into the wild. They go spend their adult lives out in the wild. And then when they are ready to spawn, they will come all the way back here to the hatchery, the place where they were born. And we are able to do the spawning process here on site.
That's amazing because salmon tend to, in the wild, come back to exactly where they were born. So that's really cool that even if they're born in the hatchery environment, they know to come back to the hatchery.
Yeah.
And a lot of the salmon that we see today, were these salmon that you raised and released then?
Absolutely. So the salmon you'll see today were ones that we raised and released here at the hatchery. It's a big send-off when we do our releases every spring, early summer. They go spend 2 to 5 years, depending on the species, out in the wild. And then something clicks and they're like, it's time to make babies, go home and die. All 5 species of Pacific salmon die when they spawn.
Gotcha.
So they come back. They recognize the water coming out of the salmon ladder as their home stream water, the water that they were born and raised in, that fresh water source.
And can you talk a little bit about this salmon ladder?
Typically, we'll turn it on every year around summer solstice. It is meant to mimic what a stream would be like for them to return home to their home stream.
I see.
So it's a concrete zigzag, and it's got little gates in it for salmon to kind of swim through. And once they're able to make it up through the concrete zigzag, they've technically made it home. On the other side of our salmon ladder, we have a holding area where the salmon will hang out until it's ready to be spawned and processed.
Wonderful. So we are going to go on a tour today, and I would love for you to come along and join us. We're in front of the backside of the salmon ladder, so what are we looking at fish-wise here?
Yeah, so these are returned salmon. This is kind of the last rung of the salmon ladder, so they have made it just about all the way up that salmon ladder, and we are looking at quite a few chum salmon that have made their return.
How do you tell if these salmon are male or female?
With chum salmon, which are the ones that are currently in the ladder, you will see that the males have a really hooked underbite jaw with very kind of scary looking pointy teeth sticking out of them.
Yeah.
The females are a lot more subtle.
And how do you know that they're your fish returning?
We are able to lay a thermal mark on all of our baby salmon when they're very, very tiny. And we're able to do that by manipulating very slightly the water temperature in their incubator trays inside.
Interesting.
And so that lays a specific pattern on their ear bone called an otolith.
Interesting.
And so when we get those return salmon, we are able to take samples of those otoliths, grind them down, and read the pattern on their otoliths so we understand which brood year these chum salmon are and whether or not they are actually our hatchery fish or if they're from a nearby hatchery.
Wow, that's incredible that you can do that just by water temperature.
It's really cool science.
So what happens to the fish that are in here?
Yeah, so these are the fish that made their way up the ladder already.
Okay.
And so they are currently in our holding tank. They will get pushed out of the holding tank when we are ready to start doing some processing. Once that happens, we will have staff in our processing area ready to go. And these raceways right here next to us will be filled with water. And we go ahead and start pushing the fish through, which is very exciting. And from there, we will go ahead and enter our processing area, which is where we're headed to next.
Today we have the authorization because we have Riley.
This is our fish processing area. So I had mentioned before that behind us are the raceways.
Okay.
All of those fish will get raised up out of the raceway, and we are able to separate the males and females on these metal dividers, do an egg take from the female. It goes in a 5-gallon bucket, and then we're able to press on the bellies of the males to release their milt. Stir the magic potion, and we are able to take those fertilized eggs up into our incubation rooms where they will spend the next portion of their life.
Let's cold in here.
It's chilly. It's usually pitch dark though too,
Oh, okay.
when we actually have eggs in here, because it's meant to mimic what their home stream would be like.
Okay. We are now in the room where you incubate the eggs, correct?
Yes. These are our incubators. Once the eggs have been fertilized with milk, they come up here, and this is where they're gonna stay for many months. Each of these trays in each incubator can hold over 200,000 eggs.
200,000
In
per,
each in each tray.
Oh, in each tray.
We try to meet our egg take goal of 135 million eggs every single summer for chum specifically. This is just our chum incubation room.
Okay.
Remember, we raise chums, kings, and cohos,
Right.
but proportionately, this is what we raise the most of, is chums. So this is our big room right here.
And then I know with a lot of sea animals, there's not a high survival rate for the babies, but the point of this is to give them a head start. About
Absolutely.
what percentage do you see survive?
Yeah, that is my favorite question to answer because it blows my mind every time I think about it. So in the wild, a baby salmon has a 1 to 10% chance of making it from stream as like a little baby
Right.
out to saltwater as a juvenile.
Okay.
Here at the hatchery, we are able to raise that all the way up to 85 to 95% survival.
Wow, that's
It's-
amazing.
We take away a lot of their stressors to give them a better start at life before
Right.
we release them.
And I didn't realize, I knew that there was a low survival rate, but I did not realize how many of them didn't even make it to the ocean.
Yeah, exactly. And then the statistics are still the same once they're ocean bound to come back as spawners. So in the wild and here at the hatchery, we only see about a 1 to 10% return on those that we released.
Right.
But they had a better start and we released more numbers to begin with. So just overall a better start at life.
Very cool. And then what's next?
These guys stay in these incubators until they hatch and they turn into their little baby alevins, and they have something called a yolk sac on their tummies. They eat up most of their yolk sac, and we're doing samples each week until we realize, hey, they've almost eaten all of their yolk sac. We should probably move them to the next location. And those next locations are where we're gonna head next. We're gonna head to our rearing facility.
Awesome, let's do it. Look at the food. This is 815,000 fish in here.
They are not counted one by one.
Okay.
It's done by sample size instead.
Gotcha.
That's for the best.
That would be a lot of counting.
It would be.
But they don't look cramped, and that's the crazy thing. They have plenty
Yeah.
of space.
So that's why these race weights aren't filled currently.
Right.
So as they get bigger and they do start to get kind of crowded, we do
Right.
spread them out between all of these other really long raceways in here.
I see. Riley introduced me to Kylie, and I toured the lab and learned how they age and gender the fish. What kind of research do you do in here?
We do water samples once a month to make sure the water we're using is clean when it comes in and when it goes out. There's certain plankton that have really long, spindly legs that gets into their gills and irritates them. So if the fish aren't eating and we don't know why, we'll do a plankton tow, and then you can tell, oh, there's some plankton that are irritating them.
Right.
I'm mostly doing age, sex, and weight of adult fish, and then for our baby fish, I take a yolk sac sample and they get released into salt water when they have a 3% yolk sac to body weight ratio.
Thank you so much for this tour of the hatchery. If people want to visit, how can they do that?
Yeah, come to Juneau. We are open for visitation throughout the summer, so we're open May through September. Hope you can come and visit.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for having us out today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for taking the time to let me show you around.
And thank you for watching. I'm your host, Jaclyn Friedlander.